Hello and welcome to the next video in a series of video lessons on self-guided parts work using the IFS model. The video you're listening to is the sixth video in a series of interactive and comprehensive lessons about the process of working with the protective parts of your internal system. This video will cover the session basics and format of the sessions. You'll learn some basics about trailheads and what to do when your process is blocked. There are no media clips or images in the video because at times you will be asked to close your eyes to practice some of the activities. The AI-generated images and media clips can be distracting or uncomfortable for some people, so I'm presenting this course in a clean and organized format. It's possible then to listen to the video lesson and follow along to the prompts, journal, or practice the skills being taught. The videos are posted on the Internal Family Systems Therapy Masterclass Module 1 playlist for easy navigation and listening. Please go back and listen to the videos in this series in numerical order before you listen to the rest of this video. Listening to them or watching them out of order may not be helpful or beneficial and might be confusing. I'm James Fitzgerald. I'm a Vermont State licensed clinical mental health counselor. I have a Master's of Science degree in clinical mental health counseling from the University of Vermont. I have a Bachelor's of Art degree in psychology from the College of St. Joseph the Provider. James Fitzgerald Therapy is the name of my private practice and professional limited liability corporation. Strengthening Your Conscious Self is the name of my psychotherapy program, Universal Treatment Plan, and Health and Wellness Program. I'm a National Certified Counselor by the National Board of Certified Counselors. I'm a member in good standing with the American Counseling Association, and I'm an active member of the Vermont Counseling Network. I currently have no affiliation with the Internal Family Systems Institute. However, I have completed formal trainings in IFS, offered by several accredited organizations. And in addition to using IFS for my own healing journey, I have used it daily for the last several years with clients in my private practice. My sharing of these free-to-consumer evidence-based health and wellness videos is separate from my psychotherapy and mental health counseling private practice. The videos are supplemental information for educational purposes only. The videos on this channel support my universal treatment plan for my clients in therapy and provide my health and wellness program clients with educational material. I am studying and learning how to implement several mindfulness-based mind-body connection approaches and integrate them into a holistic therapeutic model and health and wellness program. I am studying Buddhist psychology and philosophy, yoga traditions, energy healing approaches, and Tai Chi practice for the purpose of integrating their principles into my work. In addition to listening to the other videos in this series on this playlist, in numerical order, it's important that you visit the community page and read the post about the terms and conditions of use for the videos on this channel. Your continued viewing of the videos on this channel indicates your consent that you have reviewed and you understand the terms and conditions of use that also include a liability waiver and legal disclaimers. That you agree I am not responsible and you will not hold me liable or at fault for any of your actions or inaction after watching the videos on this channel. I also want to give you a warning that there might be a brief mention of abuse, self-harm, and substance use. And while I took extra care to be vague and not too specific or descriptive, you might experience strong emotional or behavioral reactions to the content. Before we go any further, this might be a good time to pause the video, grab your journal and something to write with, and when you're ready, let's get into the lesson. Before you start engaging in regular sessions, let's take a look at some of the basics and the format of a self-guided parts work session. Whenever you begin a new session, it is a good idea to start by checking in with the part you may have focused on in the previous session. You should never leave unresolved issues for too long. If not, determine if there is a part you want to work with or a trailhead you want to explore. You can access the new target part, or you can access the target part from the previous session. You may need to recall the previous session and repeat some of the questions about getting to know the part in order to fully establish it in your consciousness and connect with it. If the part was still in process during the previous session, it is usually best to continue working with that part in the new session until you finish unburdening it, unless something urgent has come up in the meantime. You can access the part and continue from the step you ended with in the previous session, unless any new protectors get in the way. If that happens, work with those protectors first. Any part can be triggered and blend with self during any internal exploration. Even though you have gone through the process to become centered in self, a part may arise and take over the seat of consciousness without you realizing it. Here are some signals that a part might have taken over the seat of consciousness. One sign is when you speak as the part, rather than reporting on what the part says to you. If you notice this, a part has taken over. Another is if you get lost in telling the story of what happened and it triggers a part, the part might take over. If you begin to see the world from the viewpoint of the part, or you are caught up in its beliefs, a part might have taken over. If you get more and more charged up with the part's feelings, the part might have taken over. Awareness of your experience, your body's sensations, your emotions, automatic thoughts, and behavior in the present moment is the key. The trick to finding your way back to a centered and grounded place is detecting that you are blended. When you become aware that you have lost your compassionate or curious perspective, you can work more effectively on unblending and returning to self. If you are working with a partner or therapist, you can give that person permission to point out to you when you are blended with a part. If you are working with a part in real time, that is, in a daily life situation, you can sense the shift in your body when you're blended with a part versus speaking and acting from self. The skills and understanding that we learn in IFS are particularly valuable in our interactions with others. Whether we are talking to business associates, friends, or intimates, parts language can clarify feelings and intentions, ease tensions, and create an atmosphere of open communication and respect. Generally, it is advisable to speak for a part, from self, rather than speaking as the part. For example, if the part is getting angry, instead of saying I am angry, you can say there's a part of me that feels angry. When you speak for a part, you are more likely to be responsible for the part's feelings and issues rather than blaming others for them. You're less likely to say things that will hurt and activate other people's exiles, and therefore trigger their angry protector parts. Speaking for a part is particularly useful when you're talking with someone about a touchy emotional issue between you, or when you're trying to resolve a conflict with someone. This is especially helpful in intimate or romantic relationships. It is also advisable when working on conflicts in groups. It's a simple rule that helps you engage in true dialogue. Let's try an exercise to apply this in the real world. Close your eyes if you'd like and think of a situation in which parts of you were activated, possibly a conversation you had with another person. Note which parts are present when you recall the experience and explore the difference between speaking as a part and speaking for the part. You can open your eyes and write the following in your therapy journal, or write as many as you can recall. What was the situation that activated the part? Pause the video if you need time to write. What were the parts that were activated? Pause the video if you need time to write. What was the part feeling, speaking as the part? Pause the video if you need time to write. What was the part feeling from self speaking for the part? Pause the video if you need time to write. After listing as many parts as you can, what differences do you notice in your body and your feelings when you speak as the part versus speaking for the part? Write your answer down in the journal or workbook. Pause the video if you need time. Now let's learn how to be a parts detective and work with what some IFS practitioners call concerned parts. When you are getting to know a protector, another protective part of you might become activated and will need to be worked with before you can proceed. There are a number of possibilities. One possibility is that a concerned part is blended with you in a way that disrupts the process. Here are some examples. If you're figuring out the part or describing it rather than asking questions and listening for its responses, you might have been taken over by an intellectualizing thinker part, an analyzer part, or an administrator part. If you feel angry at the target part, you might have an angry part that has been activated. If you feel as though you want to stop the work, an anxious avoidant part might be concerned or worried about proceeding. If you become more and more intellectual in your approach to the work, you might have been taken over by an intellectualizing thinker part, an analyzer part, or an administrator part. If you start to space out, a foggy part or a dissociating part might have taken over. If you get blocked emotionally and start to engage in numbing behavior, you might have been taken over by a numbing part, a distraction part, a procrastination part, or other protector. If you start thinking about other things besides this work, you might have been taken over by a numbing part, a distraction part, a procrastination part, or other protector that is working to disrupt the process. The key then is to develop skills that will help you detect the part. You put the skill into practice by becoming aware that something is disrupting your IFS process and then realizing it means that a concerned part has been activated and is blended with you. Once you become aware that a part has arisen, you focus on that part and find out what it is doing and why. You should be especially interested in finding out what it is afraid of that made it disrupt your process. The following questions are part of a separate video with a guided meditation on getting to know protectors. A good line of questions for concerned parts. Hello. Who are you? What are you trying to accomplish? How long have you been here doing this job? What are you afraid would happen if you weren't doing your job right now? Then let this part know what you're trying to do, and let it know that you appreciate its efforts on your behalf. When you have gotten to know the part and have established some trust, you can ask it to relax, step back, and allow you to continue your work. However, you may need to switch your focus, make this part the target part, and work with it further. Another possibility of the stalled progress is that an exile is activated. This is usually the exile that is being protected by the target protector. The mindfulness skill you need to utilize is the ability to realize that it is a different part from the target part, which may not be obvious. For example, you're getting to know a part that tends to avoid doing certain things in your life, and you feel the shame that it is trying not to feel. This is probably the exile that the protector is trying to avoid. It is usually a good idea to acknowledge the exile and then ask it to wait for self to work with other parts. You can explain to the exile that you will be coming to spend time with it and help it, but first you must get to know the protector and get its permission to work with it. Another possibility of the stalled progress is that a polarized part, another protector, is activated that is polarized with the target protector. For example, you're working with a part that avoids things in your life, and a part pops up that really wants to get those things done. Please watch the video on polarization for how to work with this type of situation. Another possibility of the stalled progress is that another protector is activated that protects the same exile that is being protected by the target protector. For example, a part comes up that is skeptical about inner work, and this part is trying to protect against the same shame exile that the avoidant part is protecting. Express your appreciation and gratitude and ask the second protector to step aside until you have finished working with the target protector, the avoidant part. You may need to reassure it that you won't contact the exile shame until you have its permission. Work with one part at a time, but allow parts to witness the process and inviting intervention if they start to feel triggered. When you finish getting to know the target protector, do the same work with this second one. Get permission from both of them before you get to know the exile. Let's practice an exercise where we can explore the process of detecting a part that has taken over the seat of consciousness. Think of a situation in which you were working with one part and became aware that another part had taken over. Write down as many responses to the following prompts as you can recall. Pause the video after each question if you need more time to write. What part were you working with? What part took over? What type of part was it? Was it a concerned part? Was it an exile? Was it a polarized part? Was it a different protector protecting the same exile? What was the part's motivation? What were the part's fears? How did you work with the part? Okay, that concludes this lesson and our review of the session basics and format. Please watch the guided meditation video for these activities. I invite you to congratulate yourself for continuing to watch the videos in this series. This might be a good opportunity to take a break from the videos and take some time to write down any reflections or introspection you have about the video. You can come back to this series of videos when you're ready to resume it. Don't forget to grab your journal. Otherwise, we can move on to the next video. If you're working with me in therapy or coaching, please write down any questions, comments, or concerns and bring them with you to your next session. I hope you continue watching the rest of the videos in this series. Thank you for watching.